try to check out as many venues as you can. Even if you don't know if you're going to like the show, just go to see the space. Go to see how the place is conveyed. If the crowd is like people that you would vibe with, see where your little niche would be, like where you could play and see yourself playing. Really work on your mixdowns and make sure you got a lot of dynamic range. Don't just make a fat sausage of a waveform. Like when you got dynamic range, you notice that on good systems in a club.
What would your advice be to approach a brand or a label to play a gig if you're new into the scene?
My advice would be
We are recording, and today I've got Keylow.
thank you, dude. Happy to be here.
Thanks
Appreciate you
for,
coming, dude.
Yeah, mate. It was sorry it took a while to get us set up,
You got it
but
beautiful, dude. Look at this.
we got it, you
Streaming
know.
live from the Home Depot home garden.
Yeah. Yeah, we discussed this. It's like a garden centre in here. But you know, it's a nice studio, mate. What's the name for the studio? You did tell me, I forgot.
It's Jamal's studio, and then I ended up just being able to slide in super lucky. Thanks, Jamal. Shout out, Jamal.
Shout out Jamal, yeah.
Yep, the dude. He I think we were gonna call it like basement, like MINT.
The basement.
Yeah. And
That's
then
cool.
now it's like we just have a fucking group chat, and it's like Gastown Stew.
Gastown. That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it just gets lost, and everyone forgets the name, so we're just like, where are they at Gastown? It works.
That's cool. That's wicked, mate. It's a nice studio, actually. I really like it. Good space. It's good, isn't it, for what you really need it to be?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Perhaps we should do like a little studio,
That'd be sweet. Yeah, a little pan.
little pan.
A little
Maybe put that in there as well, like a little B-roll.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, we'll do that. So obviously we're in your studio. Tell me a bit more about how your music journey started. Like, where did it all begin?
Ooh.
Getting into it, yeah.
Um.
Well, first of all, I'll ask everyone where you're from and
Yeah,
what got you in your journey. Yeah.
I'm from Detroit originally.
Yeah.
And then like early on, I ended up moving to Windsor, Ontario, which is right across the border. Still will go back to Detroit all the time. Still have friends and family there. So that was like the very, very beginning. And then my mom actually had a twin brother who was like a drummer, and he just like basically just gave me a set and was like, go nuts. And, like, I just terrorized my family for years.
Yeah, just noise complaints, just
it was
like
horrible, dude. Yeah, it was so bad. And I like got really into like metal and stuff. And then I was like playing shit like always like in high school, and it was just like having 4 girlfriends you can't coordinate. So like, all right, I'm tuning all these drums showing up out of a van and shit, and fucking you guys can't even show up with your guitar. All right. So that's when I got on the computer, and I was like, all right, I'm just try doing this shit myself. And then met up with a buddy. Like, Keylow was actually a duo a long time ago, like 2011 till probably like 2013, 14. Yeah. And yeah, he was like my buddy Jesse. Shout out Jesse.
Shout out Jesse.
Yeah, he fucking put me on to Reason and was like, yo, this is it, dude. Like, you gotta check this shit out. And like, his brother was just like a don, like playing in fucking LA and shit all the time. And he like came in our little thing. And he's like, don't be using no motherfucking presets. Fucking initialize your patches and shit. Like,
yeah.
He just like made us like go
throw
right.
a combinator in there and stuff.
Yeah, he's like, draw your MIDI patterns. I don't want you to use no fucking packs. I'm like, all right, cool. So like, he got on our asses like super early, and then we were just like, this is the only way you do it. And then we realized like, oh no, you can use the sample. You can use this shit. Like, we were just like so weirdly elitist about it early on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like how it started, and then it kind of just stemmed into playing like a lot of shows around Windsor, Detroit. I ended up playing up in London a lot, Toronto once. Yeah, just kind of bouncing around. Now finally out here.
So from where did it transition though, from like the rock music to like the electronic music?
That's what was weird. Is like,
yeah,
it's like a almost shameful little background, but I still love it. I moved right into like dubstep, and I like that was my like, yo, I need to learn whatever this production is. It's so dark, it's so different. I like that because like that's what I liked out of metal.
Yeah.
So then I just always like love that super like just a huge fat like almost obnoxious bass, and just simple like really reverbed out trippy sounds, lots of delays and stuff like that. Like, I got really into that like super early on. Just, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like weird kind of post-hardcore tech metal type stuff. And
well,
I just
the dubstep sounds.
Yeah.
Was dubstep big in, like, when did you move to Canada, by the way?
That was real early on. I was probably like late 90s, and then I'd just be back and forth all the time. Like,
okay, so dubstep came in obviously later on in your life.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So the dubstep happened in the UK for like a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't happen long, but always when I came to Canada, everyone was like, if you go to Canada, you got to love dubstep. So was that, as you say, you did dubstep for a bit?
Yeah.
Was that because everyone was doing it and it was kind of the scene?
It was like I had this guy, like I used to like work at a skate shop, and we had this manager that we all like revered. His name's Brooks. Yo, shout out Brooks. He's probably watching.
There you go. Shout out Brooks.
Fucking yeah. He put me on to so much shit at like an early age, and my buddy Mike's older brother Matt, like he put me on to so much like. He's like, dude, like if you want to DJ, like I come to the club, check this out, like watch this. And like Brooks was always DJing like half vinyl, half a CDJ. I'm like, yo, this is nuts to watch. Like what the hell? But he like put me on to like chasing status and shit early and like stuff like that. So I was like the only kid listening to shit like that in my area. And then like it kind of got to this point where like me and Mike were like so obsessed with it that we were like, why don't we try to throw an event? And then he went and fucking manhandled the whole thing, did the event by himself, called it Dub Roots, and like we ended up playing it all the time. He'd ram a little like social lounge that we had full with like probably 60-70 people over capacity, at the point where he's like crowd surfing in this little like box, like smacking his head off pipes and shit. And like, dude, this got so rowdy so fast, and it like lasted probably like a good solid 2 years. And like Detroit started having like a big kind of like bass movement too.
Is that like for me like UK garage but bassline, like is it bass house? Is that what you mean by bass?
It was kind of more just like a like that early adoption of like, I don't know, kind of like trap, dubstep shit like that was coming out 2013-ish. 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And like that's when we were like kind of doing the shows all the time. And then just that kind of just spiraled into like me just like trying to just play any set I could. So it just turned into house. Then it turned into like I'd play techno sets. I got super lucky like with the people I like met early on because of that little club scene. So tight knit. Like Justin James. Shout out Justin James.
Justin James
put me on so hard. That guy let me fucking open his fucking album release parties and stuff. Just like let me take the reins in his club a couple times. Ramo Augustino, all those guys and shit. Just
sweet,
put me on. Just had this awesome club called Boom Boom Room that like introduced me to so many techno acts, so many house acts, and that's like when I was like, yo, this is it. This is it for me. This is the scene.
So like going back just a little bit, right? Where did you? Obviously, you got into. When did your first like DJ introduction, like how did you get into the DJing part of it? Because obviously you've gone from metal to dubstep, right?
Yeah.
So how did you sort of feel like, okay, I want to start doing some parties? Like, did you get into DJing, or did you do your first like gig because of the DJing, or how did it all like start that process?
That was probably like my dad. Like I think he was just sick of me fucking playing drums so much that he got me an electric drum kit. And
keep the fucking noise down.
Yeah, he got me an electric kit, and he's like, in the headphones, the fucking headphones. I'm done with this. Like, so he just like let me go nuts with that, and then I like ended up realizing like, oh, I could just MIDI plug this shit in and like rip my own fucking like I can little sample this and like have MIDI patterns that I've wrote with my hands. What? This is sick. And like it was before like a drum machine. Then I was like, wait, this can just be a big ass playable drum machine. This is dope.
Yeah.
So and that's like how I moved into that kind of, and then I really toned it down and got really into like synths and like learning how to like make certain bass noises and stuff like that, and like really into sound design. And then that's when I was like, oh, this all just is cohesive. Like I don't got to just adopt one instrument. It's like I want to learn all these now. So like now I'm trying to learn like chords and stuff and like just kind of.
So did you do the DJing part first, or was it like the producing part?
It was producing first.
It was producing
for
first,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then like at DJing, it was like we got like a little shitty ass S4, and then like a little tractor thing, and I was like, yo, let's do this. And my buddy Mike's older brother Matt was like, I got you set, just show up, slam it. I don't know, you guys got an hour. So like me and my buddy at the time were just like, yep, we're gonna go attempt this, and it worked out. And like we just watched it, like, dude, we can be up there and just pick this music that no one's heard, put people on to sounds, and like command a room for an hour.
Yeah,
this is it for me, dude. Like,
that's wicked.
That's it. Like if you can do that on a regular and just actually have a good time up there, that's all it is, man. That's
so like going. Obviously, you mentioned Reason, right?
Yeah.
Because you saw on my computer, and you use Reason. So that was the first software that you used, right?
Yep.
And was you making like trap on that for the first part? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you what was like how did you learn? Like I know your buddy told you to write everything in. Did you just learn as you did it, as on the go, on the fly sort of thing?
He was like, his older brother was so into it and so deep and stuff, and like touring already, DJing and stuff, so that he was just like, this is how you do it. He already knew like when I came into the picture, and I just didn't know how to use any of those programs. So I kind of sit there with him and just like
a little one-on-one thing,
drum patterns and shit, and be like, this will add more swing, make it sound like you're actually playing the shit, not like a robot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of less quantizy and stuff. And, like, he was like, well, this is how you, like, initialize a synth. Like, they'll show you how to this. And then I was like, we're kind of, like, doing a little teamwork here. This is sweet. So, like, after a while, I was like, yeah, why don't we just, like, pair up and make tunes and fucking try to get some shows?
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Because playing the drums, obviously, you've got a big, like, advantage by knowing your drum placements, like where the kicks, the hats, like your snares. You kind of know that, right? Like, from that. And I think that's a big step up for, like, doing producing. And then, like, obviously you got to learn your synth and your chords and your keys and stuff like that. So did you learn that as you were producing on the go as well? You sort of picked that bit up, right?
Yeah, I picked all that up and then just attend the U of Tube as much as you can. Free learning, dude. Just go on YouTube, search some shit up, just sit there through some tutorials. I know it sucks, it's like an hour long, whatever. Just learn that shit. Literally the second you got it dialed, it'll change your life. Just run with that. And then I ended up going to school in London, and it was called a school called OER, which is basically like Nimbus here type thing.
Oh, okay.
So just audio engineering school.
Oh, cool.
That helped out a lot. That like made me realize everything I was doing kind of ass backwards.
Really? Like, what did they sort of teach you then? I'm intrigued to know.
Mostly like in the beginning it was just like signal flow, gain staging, all that type of stuff, EQing. They teach you how to do live sound rigging and all that stuff, which I love. I love setting up systems and stuff. I was always like a car audio guy growing up, so I was like, this is just a big ass version of that.
maybe you teach me some stuff, like, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
I would love to, dude. That'd be sweet. That's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, sweet. Perhaps we should hook up with you do the sound stuff and I'll do the video stuff.
Yeah, deal.
And then we'll fucking set like our own little
deal,
thing up, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So go. I know we obviously went off a little bit of a tangent there, but what was the first track you created then and like played out? Because obviously you did producing first, and what was your first track, and what would you think that would sound like now back then compared to your music now?
Oh man, it probably didn't age well.
Didn't age like a fine wine, no?
No. Some stuff like we were trying to like fuse kind of like dubby, like UK kind of like deep, dark kind of wub shit mixed with like a trap flow, because the trap, like, you need 808s and you need shit like that to have anybody really move where we're from. You know what I mean? So like that was the beginning, and we came out with like some super kind of like almost hard, I don't know, like a trap dub fusion type thing. We had this like, fuck was it? It was a fucking like a Flow Rida song or some shit with like some super whack vocal chop, and like we just completely made this monster out of it that just ended up in this like dark, bassy like cavern tune. It's just a cave dweller song. It was sweet though.
And you played it out loud?
Yeah, we put it out and it worked, and we're like, dude, what the fuck? We just shot in the dark and it worked. This is the best, man. Like, let's run with this.
Just on a fucking Flow Rider in it.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was
done really well,
yeah.
And so that was the first one. So then going from that, that was trap, right? Kind of trappy kind of music. Yep. So then how did your should I call it evolution from trap to house and techno and that sort of side of it?
It was like
how did that transition from that in that period of time from then to now?
That was probably like more once I started not going to like all the bass events. Like I wasn't like not going anymore. I was still going to them, but I started hanging out and going to more like house and techno events and kind of hanging out with like the older crew.
Yep.
Like Justin James, Ian Hind from back home. He was like Plastic Man sound guy. Like he like owned the skate shop that I used to skate at all the time. Like he just was like, it just such a tight, weird little community that meshed into each other. And like, and he's just like, dude, come to these events. So I go out and check them out, and I'm like, okay, this is different, but it's like cleanly, and it's not like, I don't know, like that kind of frat, like no fucks given kind of shit show vibe. It's more of like a
just enjoy adult, yourself and let yourself go sort of thing. Yeah,
it's more of an adult vibe. And I was like, this is cool. Like I see like the draw to this. And then like I started trying to produce it, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking fun. Like this is why am I not messing with this? And then that's when I got into that. And then I find now like house and techno are like the basis of most anything. Like if you're gonna play a show here, at least, you kind of have to stick to that as like a mainframe for your whole set to like build off of and stuff. Like I'll play a lot of breaks and stuff in between, but it'll be like a 3-to-1 ratio. Like I'll play like 3 house tunes and then like 1 breaks track. You can't just beat people's ass with breaks all night.
Yeah. But like a bit of an eclectic sound sort of thing going. So what would your view be then on like the house and techno scene in Vancouver now?
Honestly, like just like I came out here in the middle of COVID, so like for me it felt like the old school shit back home where you could just kind of like you felt like an outlaw, like you're kind of just going to dirty, grimy little things, kind of worried on your way out, going in like, all right, we might get in shit, but this kind of is sick. Like it's kind of like half the mystique too is like going out and feeling like you're doing something wrong, and it was kind of cool. Yeah. And then the community here is like awesome. Like
there's so many good parties.
Yeah, so many good parties, and like I don't know what it is. It's like everybody you meet here, they're like, oh yeah, what do you do? Yeah, show me that shit. Yeah, when's your next event? I'm gonna come check it. I got this event coming up. Like it's the most like cohesive, easygoing thing. Like no one's trying to be the guy, be like, fuck that, I'm on point right now. Like we're gonna throw an event against yours at the same night. Like
I'm a better DJ.
It's like not a competition. I love that. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, everyone gets to go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going back to like when you were saying about the older crowd. Yeah, it's the same with me, right? When I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
I went to this bar called it's a club called Sauce Bar, renowned in like from my area, and I walked in there and I was like the youngest kid in there, right? Me and my mate Jay and my mate Luke went in there, and we were the youngest in there, and all these guys were wearing like flared jeans, the flowery shirts, like the midlife crisis Ibiza crew, right? And like no disrespect to them boys, but you know,
shout out you boys.
Yeah, they set the scene, right, and the ladies as well. But yeah, we went there. I was like, mate, this music is fucking sick. Like this is like beat for like Balearic, deep, minimal stuff, right? It was like 120 BPM deep, just groovy shit, and I was like, man, I'm loving this, and we just happily just stumbled in. Yeah. Like, and I was like, fuck, I love it. So, and then from that, more younger people started coming in, and then it just became like the scene, right?
Yeah. Did you notice like that transition for you? Like when you started messing with like the older crew, it was like the music sounded more meticulously mastered down. Like it was made way more like
mellow,
cleanly too. Like it was very much like, I don't know, like technique based instead of it just being like, let's just ram the fucking limiter, loudness. You know, like, like no, it's more like dynamic range.
And you know,
like subtle nuances you don't hear in other music. You know what I mean? It's not just screeches blasting your ears out. It's like, oh, there's something to this. It's deeper. There's more thought in the production, I feel like. Yeah. And that's what drew me more to it. It's like, this is more art than what I was doing. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, yeah.
Technique, art, all that coming together.
So was the clothing and all, that was all art as well. Yeah, the flowery shirts and shit. But man. That scene back then, like, well, I say back then, because we are in 2023, it's like 2000, when was it, 2009 or 10, that time? You know, like, it was, the music back then seemed more simpler. I think everyone's trying to throw way more into the mix so much now. Everyone's trying, you know, like, if you listen to, I've said it before, like, Hot Natured, right? Yeah. Jamie Jones and all that, like, their music was just like, hat, you know, kick, hat, couple of snares, like, some riffs and this and that. It was like banging music.
And like old like Sasha shit. You could have like a Sasha song on for like 8 minutes. It's like an 8-minute song. You can leave that shit on at a party, put it on repeat, and like literally walk around for probably 50 minutes, and no one will notice that the song has not changed. Because it's just that timeless, and there's that many elements to it, but it's not overdone. And each little part of the song has different pockets, and it's like, I don't think that we make music like that anymore. I feel like now it's just like this is the hard drop and this is the second hard drop, and it all has to kind of sound cohesive, and that's it. Like back then it was more of like a journey. Like, what am I getting? It's an 8.5 minute tune. Like,
and it'd just be like B-sides just all night as well. Yeah. And then like DJ Fat Tony. Yeah. Again, like him, when he broke into the DJ scene, he played 2 vinyl all night. Just kept going from A to B's on both of them, just for like hours all night.
That's insane. It's like that's mad, so sick. Yeah.
You know, and I think now a lot of people are trying to go for the big drops and the kind of like.
I mean, I'm guilty for that.
Yeah, I am too. In some way, I wouldn't say the big drops, but more of like the hook vocals of like 90s Destiny's Child. And,
kind of bring that like old like late 90s R&B vibe. Yeah, shit now, which is kind of cool. I love that though.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm not dissing it. Probably am dissing it, but I'm not.
It's cool because it's like good vocal. That's like what UKG did like early on, and like we're kind of like copying that now with our Americanized house. I think that's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Yeah, it's just slower, not 135, less shuffle to it, more straightforward. But
is this what's good about this? Is because I'm from the UK, you're from the States, and you kind of just you. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never partied in the States.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm experiencing it through you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of put a smile on my face, actually.
Yeah, I love hearing about the UK, too. Like, you just grew up obsessed with it, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, good music came from, like, Detroit, didn't it? Come on. Like, fucking...
I'm not gonna
Just
not
Frankie
just there.
Knuckles
Yeah,
and
yeah. Oh
fucking
yeah.
Richie or
Richie, yeah.
just-
Holy shit, Justin, dude, your shit's impeccable. Love you.
Yeah.
Shit
Perhaps
like
we
that,
get him
though.
on the show. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that'd be cool.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be
You'd probably be down. Yeah.
Hopefully. I'll get in contact with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I've got off tangent again, but it's all good. So you obviously transitioned from the trap and into the house and techno and stuff like that. So how did you like go about getting your DJ gigs in Vancouver, like, or just in general, like, because people watch and they want to know how to, you know, like approach labels or brands, whatever. What would your advice be to approach a brand or a label to play a gig if you're new into the scene?
My advice would be try to check out as many venues as you can. Even if you don't know if you're going to like the show, just go to see the space. Go to see how the place is conveyed. If the crowd is like people that you would vibe with, see where your little niche would be, like where you could play and see yourself playing. And then just continue to show up. I find like just showing up and meeting the right people, like meeting whoever owns the place, like that. Try to just shake a hand, have a beer. Simple things like that. But then like I got super lucky. My friend Jordan Gill, local DJ as well.
I know Jordan.
Yeah. He brought me down here, and I met Bryn and Dom at Northern House. So then I was like, I can come here every week, and there's always like a box of new producers and DJs and shit that are just kind of hanging out, and everyone's super chill and down to talk. This is a gold mine. This is it.
Sweet.
So that plugged me into like meeting everybody, and like you just talk events, and then you start going out to each other's events. Like, yeah, I'll come support. And then next thing you know, hey dude, would you want to play this? I'm like, sure. I never asked. I never once asked, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
that's the good thing about I found in Vancouver as well, is that a lot of time you don't even have to ask. People just approach you.
Hey, you want to do this thing? Like,
you know, like
the right place, right time sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like you are your environment where the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's wicked advice actually, yeah, to be fair. It's probably
like,
better than the advice I could give actually, but yeah.
Sometimes
good.
Like, yeah, I mean, if you're really on it and you have a brand and your whole thing's all together and you like have your shit completely dialed to the point where you're like, this is my brand image, this is my sound, this is my catalog of sounds, this is what I've put out, this is what I can do, this is what I can bring. If you're that level, for sure, go around asking.
Mm-hmm.
If you have all that shit and your shit is completely together, go around asking and digging. But if you don't, I would say just kind of show up and wait your turn, almost. Yeah. Like, just be in the right place, right time. Meet the right folks so that you're not regarded as kind of like a little over-eager. Yeah. Because that's always bad luck. But.
Yeah. And how did you shape your journey then to, like, create your brand? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of just been all over the place for a while. Like I
like, what was your process? Do you know what I mean? Was there even a process? Like,
I kind of just all naturally like fell together and stuff. Like just close friends like helped me do logos and stuff. Like one of my best friends, Alex, like just one day just like screwing around, just was like, here's your logo. I was like, oh, this is dope. I love this.
Cheers, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Shit like that. Like just easy friend connections. It's been so far. Like I've never really like kind of dug or like really begged for anything, which is nice. Like it's a super nice feeling, but it's also just because I know that like I'm out living and breathing it as much as I can too. So I think that kind of helps.
So the advice would be like, be in the know, get there quite a bit, go to don't have to go raving every week, but make it.
And even if you do, like just go and say hi. Like even if you're not going to spend the whole night out there, just say hi. Hey, I just want to show face, I just want to support, paid for a ticket, I'm here having a beer, just want to say what's up, and you're out. And then people like love that. I don't know what,
fantastic.
It's a human connection, you know, like once you get that, then it's like, oh, he's one of the boys.
Yeah,
there he is.
That's good. I mean, that's good advice. Like definitely, like, because again, like, you know, some people are too shy to come out and you know, go to events and meet people, but you know, these events are one of the most welcoming sort of you know,
and like I've been nothing but welcomed here. Like if anybody is watching this and you guys see me out, please come say what's up, for real. I'd love to get to know you. Like,
we'll put all your details in the bottom in the description, all that anyway. But so wicked advice, mate. But I do want to dive a little bit deeper though.
Yeah.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into like your process of like when you played that first track, which was a bit trappy, a bit this and the other, and how you like, you know, as you progress through your productions, like signing to labels. You know, like what was your first track that you signed to labels, and what sort of genre was it? Was it still in the trap scene?
That's the thing is like I still have yet to have most of like the style of music that I'm making now signed, back when I was making dubstep though, we had 4 songs signed to a label in Texas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was just like a super short little thing, and it was like kind of flash in the pan, like quick little like probably a 2-year thing where we were getting support back and forth, and then it kind of like fizzled out, and then I stopped producing with my friend Jesse, and it was kind of just like I'm not really gonna chase the dubstep sound anymore. So like now I literally like shout out all the homies. Everyone's on my ass about this because I literally have like a hard drive with like 400 tracks on this, and I have like a MacBook with like 400 tracks on that just sitting there, and they're all like, "What is wrong with you, dude? Put this out." But like, that's where I was just talking that shit. Like, get your brand together.
Yeah.
That's like my next biggest goal is just to get my brand together, have my everything like my whole ass together. You know what I mean? I can't look like I'm a mess, and then I'm coming out with some shit.
But that's one of the best ways to go though, is get a big arsenal. Yeah. And that's why I asked this question, because you explained the branding thing, right? Yeah. And then obviously now you're saying like, you know, like I haven't released any tracks in this specific genre. Yeah. But I've got a big arsenal of like a load of good tracks. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also good advice for other producers as well, is that don't make one track release. Yeah. Just like build up a big arsenal and try and find your sound. Do you think you found your sound by making all them tracks? Yes. 400 per computer. Yes.
Now, like that's where it didn't feel like it was happening for me until I just became okay with shit and just moved on. You know what I mean? Like those tracks where you go back to it for, I'll hear some people talk like, oh yeah, I've been working on this song for like 6 months. Bro, how the fuck? I gotta finish it in the day, or that track ain't gonna come out sounding the way it sounded the first time. Like,
oh really? Is that how you
capture
produce?
It that day and that's it. Get it out. Like stop. Don't overthink shit. Like just get it out. Capture that vibe, and then go back in there and do like the mixing, EQing and shit. Like just bang out the sound, like the general idea. And then once you have that general idea, you come back and lay it out different. And you can do your EQing and stuff. But like you're never gonna capture that minute when you sat down and like made that first bit, if you don't just jam it out in one shot and then come back to it and clean it. Yeah. I feel like if you come back to something a million times, laying out different bass lines, different ideas and stuff, it'll never be that first track. You'll go through probably 40 tracks that could have been. Yeah. And you could have had 40 tracks now because you played with that bass line so many times, you made it so different that now you're lost.
You've lost the original concept of it, right?
Exactly, yeah. And you could have had probably at least 5 good tracks out of the ideas you threw down. Yeah. Just hammer it out. Like,
so I agree with that, because obviously I've said before to people is that whatever first comes to mind, stick with that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, don't, because once you ever play it, you kind of just make it more.
No, there's a reason you thought of that, and there's a reason you thought it was like what you need to be doing. You know? Yeah.
So what would be the first? So how would you produce a track? Like, what would you start with first?
For me, I always like, it's always kick. I'm always just kick right away, and I always like know the exact pattern that I'm going for. I just draw in all MIDI. I already know it. Like, it's been so long that I've just been like, I can just look at the grid and just click in where I know I need shit.
Oh really?
And then just kind of throw things off a little bit, like kind of unquantized shit a little bit, so it sounds a little more human. Yeah. And then from there, I'll play with the bass, and then I'll add some sort of like, probably some, just like an accent kind of almost pad or something like that, just to keep it kind of full. Yeah. And then I'll come back in and try melodies, because that's where I suck. I'm terrible at melodies.
Oh really?
I'm terrible, dude.
It's so bad. You can't be good at everything.
No.
But there's always room for improvement, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's always room.
It's always drums, and then just throw in fills and shit, and like just growing up playing drums, like every 16 bars, if there's no sort of little fill or something like that, no call and response, you're gonna kind of bore everybody. Yeah. So try to keep that together, and that's really it. And then throw down some melodies, because I suck at it. Just I'm so bad at it, dude.
Honesty is the best policy. It's all good. Yeah. Trust me, it's the best way to be. Yeah. So as you did you did the schooling for like the audio engineer stuff, do you master your own tracks then?
Yeah. Right now it's I master them like as best as I can. Yep. One of my best friends, Howley Andres, he's a great engineer. Yep. Honest, dude's insane. Like, genius with his shit. And he just started showing me like clipping tools and stuff like that, and like limiters and stuff like that, and that's just stuff I've never really truly messed with myself. And it's just like to get that last little bit of volume squeezed out of it. But like, really work on your mixdowns and make sure you got a lot of dynamic range. Don't just make a fat sausage of a waveform. Like, when you got dynamic range, you notice that on good systems in a club. Yeah. You'll notice subtle little details and shit. If you're just blasting like a sub, it's like, all right.
So do you create a track like -8 dB and then and then just work it that way, right?
Yeah,
so you got to play the headroom and
exactly. Try to get as much headroom as you can, so you have a lot of leeway to play with it. Yeah. And then you got so much more room to make changes in the future and stuff. And if you're I don't know, if you're gonna compress anything, then you can play with it. You can, I don't know, it's just more malleable when you're not already ramming the shit out of the levels off the jump.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
That's the reason why I asked, right? Because obviously we get producers listening on the show as well, and you're very knowledgeable, and you know, it's wicked advice. You know, a lot of people think like, oh, you know, I've got a sample pack, just fucking whacking this and whacking that. It's good, like, that's fantastic, but there are, you know, you want to make it sound more wider and more dynamic. You know?
And that's like a thing too, is like, if you are coming from that sample background, it's good because it's showing you how to structure things. Like, I'm not going to shit on it like for that at all.
No.
But try to think of it this way. If all you're doing is using samples, you're just making a collage of other people's shit. You're not producing.
Oh, okay.
You're just making a collage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really it. So, like, if you, my thing is to, like, pull yourself out of the box, draw some shit in the MIDI, initialize a patch, play with the synth, learn, like, ADSR, learn the difference between a saw wave, square wave, triangle wave. Once you can speak to that, you understand what the hell's going on in all these programs. You understand what this patch is doing. Like, when you actually fire up some sort of like a preset, and you look at it and you're like, oh shit, I can change this and it'll kind of change that tone. Now I get this, and like now you can run with it, and instead of just being given what you're predisposed to, and that's all you can do.
Now, like, another question I'm going to ask you is, do you think you can apply that to every genre, or is that only to a specific genre?
Oh, every genre,
yeah.
Every genre, I find.
Yeah. I asked the question because obviously people don't know this stuff, right? And you know, I think it's good to put it out there and give people as much information as possible when it comes to producing. Yeah. I mean, even me, you know, I've done it for years, but I still learn stuff. You even teach me stuff to this day, you know, and everyone can feed off each other, and that's the good thing about the scene, like you were saying earlier. That you can go into it and you can learn.
It's easy, like just how everybody, like, I find this city especially, producers like are just super down to talk about what they've been doing and stuff like that. Like, I think I've had more conversations like this like weekend about like, yo, what bass line, like what synth is that? They're like, oh, it's this, and they'll just run down everything. I'm like, this is dope. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, man.
Yeah. So I'm going to go a little bit into the club scene then. What was like the best club you've been to? Because obviously we spoke many times before anyway. But like, you know, you showed me a picture where you have Richie Horton on this first release of the Model 1, right?
Yeah,
so you've been about and you've seen some great people. You've opened up for some massive people. You did for Mark Knight. We briefly, you know, brushed over. So like, tell me like a bit more about your like experiences of like what's one made a big impact to you. Yeah. Two, what's stood out the most?
One of the biggest
like,
impacts for
that,
me,
or like a learning curve, or anything like that, you know?
Yeah. The first one that was like proper, it was in Windsor, and it's like the only club that was going at the time. It was called Boom Boom Room.
Boom Boom Room.
Yeah, and it was upstairs was like Sky Bar and like a smaller little like loft venue. Yeah, and that's like kind of where you kind of like cut your teeth. Like that's where they try new people and like just kind of they let us run free in there for a good couple of years, and it was sweet.
Perfect, yeah.
And that was like where we got like the idea and like how to like convey a crowd, like how to kind of move through the night and like how to do an opening set instead of just show up and blast the shit out of it.
You know what? Like, I'm gonna quickly cut into your story here, but like I think a warm-up set. Yeah. I've said it many times. I'm gonna keep saying it because it gives obviously people the confidence as well when they get into DJing. I think the warm-up set is one of the best sets of the night.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. 100%. If you show up early and like that guy can fill the room in his 1 hour. Nailed it. That's the only thing you're supposed to do. That's literally all you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be the celeb. You're not supposed to be banging off, like going nuts and shit. Like, if you held it down and you filled the room and then you set up the vibe for the next guy, you've nailed it. That is it.
Your time will come.
Yeah, exactly. And people recognize that. Yeah. When you do a proper opening set, people recognize that. So.
Yeah. So yeah, going back onto your your experiences from like opening, like, so yeah, what's like been the best experiences? Obviously, like say you've met Richard and Mark Knight. So who's like the people that you've met who have made it big? That
a real cool one was in Detroit at Electricity. I got to open for Grand Theft. I got to open for Keys and Crates before. And, like Grand Theft he's like on Diplo's label and stuff like that, like Mad Decent and stuff, and he's just like uses 12s and like literally just ripping. Like he's a true vinylist. Like he's unreal turntablist too, and this guy just to have him come up like after our set and just be like, you guys fucking nailed it, yo, Canada representing this bitch. And I'm like, well, I'm from here, but in Canada. And he's like, oh well, whatever, dude, like you guys killed it. And it was so dope, like just getting that like almost like recognition from whoever you open for, like when they actually do speak with you. that's like the best feeling in the world. That's like why I stuck with it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you get them opportunities?
That was kind of the same thing. Like in Windsor, I got super lucky. Like everybody's older brothers and stuff like that, like kind of putting us on, letting us get in there. That turned into like just kind of being on posters, and then there's like a lot of booking agents and stuff in Detroit that like kind of would just kind of come over and like ask, like, hey, would you want to play this? And like they did everything super proper there. Like you'd sign a contract and you get a check, and then they'd sign the check when you actually fulfill the job. You know what I mean? Like it was super like not like Mickey Mouse shit at all. It was like it was like no, you're very on point, and like once you're done the job, then you get your money. Like
that's cool, man.
Yeah, so you felt like a real contracted like artist. Like
it went like that.
And then you're just a little guy playing 10 till 11, like, you know. Yeah, it was cool.
It went like that in the UK. I've been this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, like how was it like meeting Richie Horton and like
oh man, he's the nicest dude.
Yeah.
Like I was so starstruck when I first met him though. I was just like, oh, this is like God right now, dude.
yeah.
And like Justin like was super nice, just invited me out. It was like me and like 4 guys just to like go check out his Model 1 mixer like years before it came out. Like he's just so nice, just like down to let us like fuck with the EQ, like play with it, and like just get up there, mangle it, dude, just go nuts. I was like, bro, this is the nicest guy. I pictured him having like a god complex or something. The way he's like, you know, not at all. Dude's a fucking gem.
It's mad because I've met some like obviously famous DJs as well, and they always seem to be the nicest people I've ever met. They've always made the time to speak to you.
I think that's like how they get as good a career as they have, is because they're actually a genuinely good person.
Yeah, and they've all started where we've all started.
Yeah.
You know?
They've all done the small shit. No one just started and slamming festivals. That doesn't happen.
Nah. And how was have you ever had to deal with like nerves where you've warmed up for these DJs?
Oh yeah.
And you hand it over to them. Like, how did you deal with the nerves?
Oh
like,
man, yeah.
I'd love to hear this sort of stuff.
Oh man, I used to smoke a shitload of weed.
Yeah.
Like back then, I used to just get stoned as hell and play a show, and like just fucking hope for the best and just kind of like, like just put it away. Like no one's here. Just look at the mixer. I still kind of go tunnel vision sometimes. Like I'll just put on shades and I'm just fucking looking down.
Really?
Like, I'll look up at the crowd, see if they're into it, back down. But like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't know. It's just tough.
Has it got better over time though?
Yeah. I find now like I kind of know what's gonna work here for like the parties I'll get invited to play.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just set with my organization and stuff. I really am unorganized. Like I literally just have a USB with like 400 songs. Just
so you don't play any sets or nothing?
No. Every time I've ever tried to plan anything, it fucks up. It fucks me up so bad. Yeah. So I just don't plan anything anymore. I'm like, no. Every time I've ever like gone to the drawing board and be like, this is gonna work, and it never does. So I just look at the crowd and I'm like, what's gonna? All right, and chuck that on. Yeah.
That's the best way though. You got to read the crowd, right?
Yeah. And that'll teach you too. If you just show up with a wad of tunes on a stick, try that. Maybe try that one time. See if that works. Yeah. Because for me, that seems like the ticket. Like some people, like a lot of my friends are so meticulous. They'll spend like 4 hours before their set. Like, oh, I'm prepping. I'm like,
I'll wing it, mate. Don't worry.
I got a fucking hard drive I'm showing up with. See ya.
I'll wing it. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like I'm like half-assing it, but like I don't know what it is. It just seems to work. Like that's the best ones I play are the ones where it somehow works out, and those are the ones I walk away feeling the best from, like smiling. You know. Yeah. Where like if I plan something, it's like and it doesn't go to plan, I feel like I have there's way more opportunity for me to feel bad, you know, at the end of it, like, oh fuck, I thought this was really gonna go down and it didn't. Like, damn it, you know. Like, but I don't know.
I think that's a good way to approach, but everyone does approach it differently, and
I think that's like coming from like fucking with Tractor and shit like that and Serato and just having your whole laptop with you. Yeah. So like instead of just going from your one playlist, like you can just dig through your whole library, and like that's what made me be like, I just need my library when I'm out. Yeah. So just now that everything's USB, I'm just like.
So do you play just on the CDJs, or is your setup can be Tractor or Serato? Or is it different sometimes, or do you?
If I was to play like a hard techno set, I'd either want CDJs or Tractor. Yeah. I really like the D2 controllers for Tractor. Those are sweet. kind of gets you out of laptop face. Like you can kind of close your laptop and it has the screens built in.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I have like one of those Denon all-in-one controllers, and I'll use it with Serato. And I have a TR8 drum machine. There's TR sync, so you can just sync your drum machine to the tracks, but the tracks aren't synced, so you still have to beat match the tunes. But the drum machine's doing top loops and stuff, so you're just sitting there freestyling top loops.
That's wicked.
Loop an obscure part of the track, and then you go a hard 808 shit on it, and just go nuts.
Go to fucking town on it.
And
Yeah,
then just come back and throw on another tune, turn off the TR8 basically. And it's just like a three deck, but not really a deck. A sampler kind of. Something like that. But that's like me at home, and then me out is always just CJs.
CJs, yeah.
CJs always just because it's just a club standard. I don't want to be the guy who's like, here's my box of shit that I have to.
Yeah.
You know, I was that for the longest time with my like tractor controller, and it was like the worst because it was just. Now I got to push over all the professional gear for my little plastic thing, and I'm going to stand in the weird corner, you know, like stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just like being able to get down on everything too. I feel like that will help too in the long run. So you're never like show up and you're like, oh shit, I don't know how to use this. I'm scared, you know?
Yeah.
Once you eliminate that, it's
pretty much
playing tunes.
Yeah. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
With regards to making music, and you got like loads of tracks. Like how you say you can knock them out in a day, right?
Yeah.
So you got a lot of these tracks. Has anyone heard any of the? They probably have heard some of them, but have they heard? Have you got some that you've never played to anyone before? You have, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even I would make hip hop and stuff with my friends, and like make like my little brother like raps and stuff. So like we just like send each other beats and shit all the time.
Just of all genres, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like hip hop was like huge. I have like a whole catalog, like probably 120 like completely mastered finished hip hop beats, like all ranging from like 90s.
You might have the next Drake theme tune. Fuck it, hell.
I love like that, and like dance hall tunes. I'll make some dance halls every once in a while, shit like that. Like I love music. Like I'm not gonna pigeonhole myself to one genre.
Yeah.
And that's like what kills me inside a little bit is like, I don't know. I feel like kids now, like when they're coming out into music, they're like, I have to just stick to this one sound, and it's this one sound, and it's just this one sound. And you're like, do you go to other parties and shit? Like I love music, period, man. Like I gotta listen to everything. So you can take inspiration from everything. You listen to fucking country. You can like have you ever taken I've literally taken a country song into Ableton and then transposed the MIDI from the fucking swing guitar into fucking like the melody, and it made some of the trippiest shit I've ever heard. And I'm like, yo,
tell me fucking
you
more.
can snipe shit out of everything.
Yeah,
everything is an inspiration if you look at it that way. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
it's like do you ever go out with like a recorder and just like
in my pocket? I always record shit like hear like the fucking crossing guard, the beep boop beep boop, like shit like that, and I'll bring it into drum and bass tunes and just like now I got this fucking.
You know, Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Her brother Finian. Is it Finian?
Yeah. I watched that interview.
He done it with in the States with the clicky thing of the traffic.
Yeah.
Crossing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's I was literally like, yo, he's doing that shit, and then like another night, like my buddy's like standing at his fucking because he called himself in, he forgot his keys for his house. Yeah. So when he calls on his phone. And he's talking into the mic on the thing, he'd be like, hello, because it would delay through like both microphones, just making a loop. Yeah. So like I basically like recorded him like just saying some stupid shit. We were like out of our mind at like 3 a.m. Like he's just like absolutely wasted. It's just like on this loop of shit, and I was like, that's actually such a sick that's such a drum and bass intro, dude. That's like ominous as shit. So it was just like little crap like that, and like half my songs have like my keys jangling in my pocket and shit. Like I'll literally put my phone in my pocket, walk down the hallway, and just like use that like Foley. And like,
really?
Yeah.
Mate, you've blown my mind a little bit with all this.
Like I just like finding shit out of everything. You know? There's something in everything if you think about it. And like now we're lucky. We got Ableton and shit, and like Reason, Logic, Pro Tools, all that shit. You can literally quantize anything. You can pick anything out. You can extract grooves from everything. Like, so we got the easy button compared to music back in the day.
Yeah, man. Like with regards to like syncing shit now and stuff like that.
So easy to like just grab anything from anything and make it work. Which is sweet.
And how did you go from the transition from Reason then to Ableton? How was that transition?
That was tough. That was really tough because like Reason it was hard for me to understand in the beginning, but then because of Reason when I went to school, now I understood a patch bay. Like now I understand how to wire things and like when like signal flow, all that type of stuff. So I'm like, well, this is actually fucking like I've already done this almost like, but in a computer. So then like in real life I'm ripping around no problem, but Ableton was one of those things where it almost has like its own language to it. Like if you look at it, like some of the terms and stuff aren't like standard music terminology.
Yep.
Like not clinical, at least, like stuff that you'd see in school or in a textbook. You know what I mean? So that was like a weird learning curve for a little bit, but because Ableton's so malleable and it's such a good community like online, like just the amount of tutorials and stuff, like that's when I kind of transitioned to that and just found it really easy for syncing things, and just sliding anything in, making ideas out of whatever I want was easier in Ableton, I found.
Yep.
So that's why I just ran with that. But I'll still fire up Reason every once in a while. I can work in Logic, Pro Tools. I hate it, but I'll use it.
Yeah.
Command S all day, because that thing, you can spend $50K on your rig, or you can spend fucking $50 on your rig, and it's still gonna fuck up on you. So
that's like like Horton's bought out Bitwig, isn't he? His own thing. Have you tried that yet?
That's the only one I haven't tried.
Really?
Yeah. Studio One's really good too.
Studio One?
Yeah. It's Presonus's thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's got Melodyne built in it and shit like that, so you can literally like just tweak the shit out of vocals and stuff, and it's really good for mastering vocals.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't used Ableton hardly at all. People have said to me make the jump, but I'm too scared because I'd be more like back to square one again.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel I'll be behind. But then again, I've had people say to me, and I've done this, and I've seen it done online as well, because YouTube's obviously got everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can use like, if I was in Reason, I could use Ableton or Logic as a plugin.
Yeah.
And use something from Ableton, like a synth, and put that synth from Ableton into...
That was the first... I was doing the reverse of that when I first used Ableton. I used Rewire, this like weird program.
Rewire,
Yeah. You'd have to use Rewire, which is like some weird third-party shit, and then they would accept Reason as a plugin. Because like I only knew how to use those, like Thor, Maelstrom, Subtractor. Those are like... Yeah. I only know how to use these. So I don't really understand Ableton synths. It's all different terminology to me, like the way it looked and stuff. It didn't look like a synthesizer. It didn't look like a unit you'd find in a studio.
Yeah.
That's what was cool about Reason. It literally looks like the faceplate that you'd see in a studio when you walk in.
Yeah.
So like that's how I understood how to sound design. And then like when you go to Ableton, it's these weird little knobs that don't look like anything, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I'd just take sounds from Reason, bring them into Ableton, and then use that like malleability in Ableton to like really make it cohesive and kind of drag everything together. And then also dragging in weird samples and stuff and syncing it all was easier in that.
Yeah.
So
if I want to make the transition, then you're the guy to speak to, because obviously you've done that transition, right? Yeah. Fuck, I might do it actually.
Yeah, man.
Oh no,
it's fun too. I don't know. Don't screw up your workflow, but definitely give it a shot once or twice. Just spend like a good 3-4 hours on it. Try it.
Yeah. Because I say Reason, I think they've come leaps and bounds now. It was like quite limited up to like 8, I think.
Yep.
And then Ableton and Logic were like stepping up big time.
Yeah.
And now Reason 12 was like, okay, now we actually do accept plugins. You don't have to buy our stock ones.
Yeah. I remember Reason 6 came out, and they had that little red like Reason iLock key, and you had to walk around with this little USB, and it was built like shit and would break all the time, and like it would fall apart, and we had to call like Propeller Head like 40 times just to keep getting these little keys, and they're like, what? And then like I guess Reason 7 came out, and they just no more key.
Yeah, just fucking do it. Yeah.
They're like, this is a piece of shit. We're not doing it.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I might have to do a bit of Ableton then.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes. Yeah, fuck it.
Damn. Anytime you want, man. I'd love to.
Is there what are your like future projects coming up then, like future gigs or anything like that?
This weekend actually, Friday, 10th, we got Jamal's throwing an event. It's an 80s party. It's all 80s themed, so we're all gonna be
80s.
Yeah, we're all
and music as well.
I have a lot of very 80s based tunes.
Right.
Yes.
80s music.
Yep.
I fucking love it.
Let's go.
The synths and everything back then, the sounds that we used.
Hell yeah.
I loved fucking the Human League.
Fat 767 drums and tones.
Man.
Your fucking Phil Collins sound and shit.
Fucking what is it? Vince Clarke. Fucking mate, he was like the fucking synthest like G ever back then. For like Yazoo. Fucking that was a wicked song. Don't go.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was just like, what? This is sick, man.
Holy shit.
I think that sound back then in the 80s of all the synths when it was all started coming in, I think that's the best sounding fucking time ever.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Fuck.
100% agree.
Yeah.
That's like when everything meshed together. Yeah, you had like half kind of organic sounds mixed with all digital synth. Well, at the time analog synths.
Yeah.
And then digital became kind of new, and like drum machines were getting accepted, and that's when they meshed actual drums with drum machines, and it was just this mashup of sick shit.
It was cool because like they'd have like I don't know, I'm gonna say it, I'm probably wrong for the purists out there, but like a Casio like keyboard
like a
guitar.
Oh yeah,
Keytar,
dude.
you got the keytar like that, and then you got a guy playing a drum machine and a synth, and it's just fucking all mixing in. It's just like a sick tune, and you're just like,
but it's still organic. Like it's like it sounds like electronic music because it is coming out of electronic based instruments, but they're all jamming. They're all just humans.
Yeah, it sounds so good,
so
doesn't it?
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, it's gonna be an 80s party though. It's at Sai Wu in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come.
That's Friday.
I'm gonna come.
Yeah, there's gonna be 2 stages. We got a ton of DJs. Like Bryn and Dom from Northern House are playing.
Yeah.
Who else? DJ New Girl, Zeta, myself, Howley. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. On my promotions episode, I will promote that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But
Appreciate that, dude. Thank
that's right. Anytime, man. I try and do it the best way I can.
Yeah.
I might not get it right the whole time. I pronounce names wrong. Yeah, but I try my best.
Hell yeah. There's that one, and then like our little collective, like me and Howley and our friend Jake and our friend we're running this little like event company called J Lab.
Okay.
We're doing it like we just did one in Holy Chow, and that turned out pretty good. So this next one is going to be at Gorgamish, and it's like an early start. It's March 17th.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be a good one. It's like a homies little, kind of like the early portion of the night, and then it kind of leads into like the normal Gorgamish night.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
So do you actually like throw many parties in yourself? I know you obviously mentioned the JLab thing, but like, do you actually?
I have never actually organized one myself.
No.
I really like running sound. I like doing like rigging and setting shit up. That's like one of my favorite things is just tuning a system too and stuff like that. Like I just get a kick out of it. I think it's like from car audio days way back.
Yeah.
Just having my head in the trunk all the time, slamming subs.
Yeah, mate, I remember those days. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Got like a fucking 15-inch sub in the back, just like hairs going everywhere, the back windows rattling.
Went through 3 rearview mirrors this month, man. They're falling off.
Yeah. And you got like the 6x9s in the back and the doors and
yeah.
So what would you say would be the best club that you've played at?
Well, I played Gorg here. I love Gorg just because of the community and stuff, and like the way that you walk in there and like even the staff makes you feel like family.
Stuff's sick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like that vibe, and then like the way that everyone kind of hangs out and is there to like see each other's set and like see 3 hours of each other. That's pretty fucking cool. Like normally it's like an hour and I'm here for a half hour, gotta go. You know what I mean? Like there's like people are there for the long haul, and like that's a community hub. That's what I like about Gorg. And then like back home in Detroit, there's Electricity in like Pontiac, Michigan, which is kind of on the outskirts. That club just sounds great. Like the sound engineer there is unreal. System is nuts. It's like a combination of like Function One. I think they have that like I haven't heard it yet, but they got that like what's it called? Robotic line array system that just like auto coordinates itself.
Oh really?
Yeah,
just some like AI shit.
Yeah, it just rings its own sound out, makes it sound perfect. Like just spans the audio to the whole room. Like dude, like. Wow. Now that's what's in there, so I gotta go back and hear that shit.
Yeah, perfect excuse to go back and check it out.
Yeah.
So, mate, I don't know how long we've been going for. We're gonna be 54 minutes, and is there anything
already?
else?
54 minutes?
Man,
holy shit!
For a while.
Damn.
Yeah. So, is there anything else like you'd like to share, like for people out there, or plug anything for your own stuff? Are we ever going to see any of these 400 tracks?
Yeah, I'd say literally me and Dom have a pact from Northern House where we basically like we're forcing ourselves to release something in the middle of February, so just stay tuned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to put something out.
You fucking heard
Finally.
it here, folks, on the Music Matters. Wow.
Yeah, because we both got yelled at by all of our friends in here. We were in here the other night, and everyone's like, what the fuck's wrong with both of you?
Well,
put some shit out.
I'm not going to lie. When you said to me about I've got 400 tracks or whatever, not today, but previously.
Yeah.
I even looked at you and said, "What the fuck are you playing at?"
Yeah. Like what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know.
Like, come on, let's give some of the candy.
Hell yeah. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. It's fucking. I don't know. Sometimes it's like, just like feels like I don't know if it's ready yet type thing.
Yeah.
And then when you get it enough from your friends, they're like, "Dude, what the." It's
done.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
cool.
Do you ever have any of that producer block where you think like, "Oh, this is never complete"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
And do you get around it, or do you just think, no, I have to give it to someone else to tell me, where they think it's at?
There's a couple people that are like my main homies that like I'm like, can I run this by your ears? Like, what do you think, top to bottom? And if I get the nod from them, then I know, okay,
You good?
I'm okay with it. I can let this go. Yeah.
Okay. So when you make the track, then would you say that's 95% complete, and then the last 5 is mix mastering? That's it.
Yeah.
You reckon that's how far you get to?
Pretty much. Yeah. I get to like 95, and then like I'll do my own kind of master with like no limiting or clipping or anything like that. Just because I don't want to have it distorted already when I hand it off to whoever is gonna master it. If I do hand it off, most of the time it's Howley Andres. So he'll like run a clipper or something like that on it, and like a couple little more like dynamics plugins and stuff, and like really just kind of watch like EQ, and then you just like have a look at it, crank it up like another couple decibels, and that's it.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And have you and Dom got any labels you were thinking of releasing them?
I'm not like honestly. I like if I could get on like International Chrome or something like that. That's like some shit like that, like some hard like kind of breakbeat stuff that I've been making. I have like some weird acid tech kind of like breakbeat, strange shit with hell 808s. So, but it's like I don't know. I've just been kind of trying to do my own thing for sound lately, and like if I get on that label, that would make me so happy. Just because I listen to that shit and I'm like, this is like nothing else. This is so different.
This is like you sort of thing.
Yeah, and it sounds very analog. The stuff they're doing like. And then you look into the artists and they are very analog, and I'm like, this is cool. This is like reminds me of old day shit, like with a new flair that's aggressive. So it's cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, mate. I fucking appreciate you having you on.
Oh, thank you for having me, dude. Man. Appreciate you coming out, setting everything up, dude.
Yeah, it's a process, isn't it?
It is. Dude.
It is
Holy
a process.
Shit. You nailed it.
Burn my calories doing it. That's for sure. Fucking hell. So if I ever have a big dinner, I know I've got to I can burn some calories off setting it up. But no, I appreciate it, mate. Thanks for inviting me to your studio. I think you're one of the most informative guys as well with it all.
Thank you, man.
Love your vibe, Appreciate that's why I had you on. Yeah, and when I get off camera, I'm going to listen to some of these 400 tracks you've got hidden.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Secret recorder down here. Just be like, I've exposed his
coming
music.
Out tomorrow.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks again, mate.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All the best.
Hell yeah. You too.
See you soon.
Thanks, dude.